99% buffalo. What happened though was when the white people came over, starting in like the 1500s, that smallpox spread across the whole country. It killed millions and millions of Indians that we hadn't even contacted yet. And because of all those Indians dying, the buffalo population exploded in a way that had never done so before historically. There's no one there to hunt.
But you know what?
Because
that was a common thing.
Gaza.
The dirtiness and the disease was a common thing in Europe with the Europeans, right? Because that was just another culture. It wasn't the Aztec culture. There's another battle. I can't remember what it was, but smallpox killed off them too. And I can't research it right now because I can't remember, but that was like a common thing when it came to fighting Europeans, apparently, right?
So it was like, when the Europeans came, they brought diseases
with them and stuff.
And things like attack dogs with armor on and horses.
Yeah, the armor and the guns were a big deal. And more agriculture, like the more agriculture you have and the closer vicinity to that, like when you have animals that close together, like it creates diseases and issues. And so if you fucking 50 generations, 100 generations back have just been around those animals, you don't even realize you're immune to a whole bunch of nonsense. To it, and then you go somewhere where they're like chasing wild animals and they're like, whoa, I got no fucking defense for like all these like having 1,000 sheep in a pen diseases that you guys have.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal. That would be awful. Have no idea what a disease is and it's just eating you up.
Oh, they knew. Like even with Roanoke, like with the first people that came over, the Indians would notice that the whites would come to visit to borrow some corn. And then like a week later, like 8 people would get a fever and die.
Suddenly.
Like they put it together, you know,
Do you think they had conspiracy theorists? Like, hey, get a load of this. Sit under tree thinks that the white man magically brings things over to us and it makes us ill. Why not? It's like, no, look racist. Around. We're dying in droves.
Yeah, that's
sits under tree was
you
always.
Can't explain that. Hey, I am only asking questions.
Diversity is the strength of our culture.
There you go.
Diversity is our strength. And that's not because I've got this dope ass new necklace.
And this rifle. He's the only one they gave a rifle to. And he's always like, the whites are great.
Man, these white guys. They've got the coolest shit.
He's the only one. He's got a white girlfriend too. he's got like the ugliest white fat girl.
Oh Jesus, that's so bad.
But he flexes so hard because of her.
Always.
He's got good credit.
Dude, that would be awesome to be the first guy.
My wife crushes chairs.
This is my wife, Broken Branch. because she's breaking the trees. But dude, that would think of how sick that would be to be the first Indian in your tribe to get a gun. You're you're the guy now. Like you're the guy. No one can do anything about it.
I don't think we will go fishing today.
So hold on. The Chinese invented the gunpowder, right? The gun. And then the Europeans got it from the Chinese.
The gunpowder, yeah. They were making fireworks and rockets and shit with it. There's a legend about a Chinese emperor who was the first astronaut. I think the whole thing is a fantasy tale, but he took a chair and he mounted like there's a number, like maybe 80 rockets or something, tried to launch himself to the moon.
Oh wow!
You can imagine how that went.
It's a true story. Like legend.
The landing is the rough part.
They would have like take the chicken to it first or something like that. He wouldn't have.
They set several peasants up. They made it.
I don't think so.
They made it.
If they didn't make it, we would have found the body.
Well,
depends where you land, I guess.
Checkmate. Yeah, they invented they were using it for fireworks and stuff. I think it had to go to the Europeans to folks that look a little bit like us for someone to figure out how to turn it into a gun and kill another person with it.
And then they took it to the Japanese and they told two friends and they told two friends and so on and so.
Yeah, there's a really interesting part of like Japanese military technological history where they were mixing in the firearms with the samurai stuff and trying to make that work.
Yeah, I've seen one of those. Yeah,
because those rifles were the oldest of there weren't rifles. Those muskets or whatever were the oldest of muskets. They probably had that burning wick that you had to touch to a pan of powder or something.
Yeah,
maybe probably weren't even flintlocks yet. So those guys were reloading back there and trying to make their piece of shit work. So you had to protect them with like pikes, like a phalanx of pikes, and then archers and still guys with swords and stuff. They had a really weird formation.
Wasn't that like a whole military strategy for like part of a century, maybe a whole one like pike and shot?
Yeah.
Or shot and
absolutely.
pike, like the name of it.
And then like another type of combat that I find fascinating, and we didn't go over Napoleon in school at all. Did y'all cover Napoleon like heavily?
No, like barely.
Holy shit, what happened? Napoleon's so sick. I had become a man grown to learn about Napoleon.
Napoleon
I thought he was
pretty...
that short. I thought he was some short, like European, like French Hitler or something. Turned out he's like the greatest military genius.
He was
of all time.
Next to like Alexander the Great, and
he conquered Europe twice.
Yeah,
he overextended. That's why he lost. Am I wrong?
He got betrayed by his own people when he came back, and he overextended and got screwed up in Russia.
Yeah, he lost in Russia.
But they sent him off to an island.
They put him on that island. But then
he probably immediately conquered that island.
Of course,
he died slowly on it, bro.
Dude, you can't stop that guy from conquering.
I showed you guys the picture of his cock the other day because somebody snatched his cock at some point in history, and they have it.
I feel like that was something Zach fact checked for us, and he's like,
I don't need to see the picture.
They don't even know that this is a cock.
And he wasn't even that short. He was like 5'8" or something like that. Like they made it sound like he was a miniature. Like
it was.
I think
that comes from English propaganda.
Yeah, exactly. That's us falling for some like propaganda back then that just became part of the ethos.
Yeah,
we're falling for propaganda from hundreds of years ago, where the English newspapers were making fun of him.
Yeah.
No, but you're right about like the Napoleon thing. We didn't learn about him barely at all, and I was like an adult before I saw like, wait, you're telling me this guy was like literally one of history's most successful generals, like in the top couple. Like you have to go to like Alexander the Great to find somebody with like a better
win-loss ratio. Or like area conquered in a period of time, especially since he didn't have cars. They're doing all this shit on horseback.
Yeah,
they would have these big square formations, like with rifles, and then the enemy would be riding around them with cavalry. Like we didn't learn about any of that in school. I felt so
you were deprived.
Yeah. What a terrible education system we have.
How many? What?